My topic is you are whole, complete, and perfect. Now, I'm not talking about who you think you are or this physical body, but this is also a perfect manifestation and creation. But you are whole, complete, and perfect at the level of your true self as a spirit soul, beyond labels, that beingness that you are. What happens is when we do not acknowledge and recognize our wholeness and act from our completeness, we are lopsided, or we are experiencing lack and limitation. What's important, and this whole thing about the male-female energy and feminine and masculine, let's call that, and these are still labels, and the challenge with the labels is that we then attach that to the physical body. And of course men don't want to be women, and women don't want to be men, unless some people do. I mean, because that's, people do all kinds of things. And but the essence of it is that we tend to have either a masculine or a feminine attitude. And the masculine, I read an article many years ago, and it said, oftentimes why men can't understand women is because of that function of that particular part of the brain, you might say, that we're using. So we would say that the left brain would be the masculine, that would be more calculating, more, what would you say, numbers and figures and categorizing. And it worked as like a single blade knife with a focus, a pure focus. Well, the feminine works like a what call that what would you call that knife thing? Swiss Army knives. It's got all these attachments. Could do all these things only because of the functioning of what would you say? All of our creative talents and abilities. So it's not that we categorize and limit all of our creative abilities because we're afraid to be feminine or have our feminine nature evolved. We tend to identify that as a male body or a female body and keep limiting things, so that we're actually not operating on all of our cylinders, you might say, or all of our aspects and all of our being. And what we don't use, we tend to lose it. We don't ever really lose it, but it's as if we have lost it because we're ignoring it. We're not paying attention to that. We're denying that. And I remember years ago when, if you were intuitive, they'd say, well, no, that's not true. That's not real. You can't be that because that's not possible. Well, who are these people to say that that's not possible when that's really your experience? And one of my friends said as a little boy he could see people's auras and people's colors as they emanated from their bodies, and it got him in a lot of trouble in school and such, like there was something wrong with him or whatever that may be. But when we realize that when we shut down an aspect of ourselves, we are not operating on fullness, but on lack and limitation. We're cheating ourselves. And it's like the feminine being very creative, but not being able to focus that and use that with that masculine part, then that's also ineffective. Now, what I noticed, like even in my body, because how the body, the physical body, is also expressing the subtle body, the mind, the false mind, intelligence, and false ego type that we have, in a sense, conjured up in this reality. But the real true identity is who we really are. So anyway, I noticed that in my left side in here, I've had pain for years and years and years. I think it was from a whiplash, and there was a lot of emotion involved in that. That's another story. But anyway, so it got locked in. And for years I had constant pain, but I realized I really had no strength in this arm. I couldn't even really open clothespins. So I just kind of ignored it, and I just kept using this side, which is the masculine, to overcompensate for the pain and the weakness in the feminine side. And you know, when you use situations in your life and even what's going on in your body and such, to say, well, what's that reflecting back to me? And for me, it was an imbalance. And so I had done different things to overcome that, and still always I had it. Well, finally up here in Shasta, met a really good acupuncturist, his Teo Merlino, and he's done such a fabulous job, and we've worked for a while with the acupuncture. But actually what is that is releasing energy blockages, because I could feel it was almost like I had tightened all of this up in my arm to really clamp down my feminine. That means intuition, self-trust, creativity, tapping into this unlimited amount of beauty and all that we are. And so, and trying to overcompensate that by being more masculine to take care of the weak feminine. But then the part of my body that I would beat up would be the right side, the right leg. I was shot in the leg when I was like with the 22 when I was 4.5 years old, broke the leg skiing, had another thing happen to it, got bitten by a brown recluse spider. I mean, boy, did I just beat up that masculine side. So here I'm beating up and punishing the masculine, but I'm also punishing the feminine because of the imbalance, by not knowing, because we haven't been taught or understanding more than just what the physical body is, but also what the energies are and the capabilities that we have to be able to use all of our powers and our abilities. And by being in balance, which means being centered in the heart and in the divine mind, and being able to be fluid. So I'm purposefully using this left arm, and actually time is that I don't have that pain. There's a teeny little bit over here, but that also means I just need to massage it more, by how many people massage their own bodies and their arms and such, and their neck and everything, and get that energy moving. So I'm consciously using this arm and doing things that I realize I was always just using the right side. So it's also being ambidextrous. You see what that is? You could use either side. And they say, well, what difference does it make because I'm getting older in my body? No, you're an eternal being. So come to balance now and bring in the wholeness and activate all that you have.